Welcome. Parshas V'Yakel. We had one opportunity to unite for a common purpose, and we could have merited something spectacular. About 30 years ago, or exactly 30 years ago, the redemption was something that people expected literally to happen because we had the perfect candidate to assume the role. And now there's such a vacuum of leadership in the world, more so than ever before. So what was the Rebbe's message for us at the time? In Parshas V'Yakel, the last words we have on the Rebbe on this Parsha, he says, this year is a leap year. It's meant to teach us that you don't have to combine this idea of unity of purpose with individual transformation and perfection, or awakening. It could be enough just for us to have the sort of aggregate merit, the worthiness of our entire nation as a whole, and that could be the ultimate achievement. It seems to me that was a one-off opportunity, and what the Rebbe had forewarned, that there's a separate Aveda, there's a separate mission, which is to Megalev Prat es Aveda de Fekude. Bechol Prat, in every detail, you're supposed to achieve that sort of perfection that could be achieved on a national level, or a family of sorts, a tribe of people, or as an individual. I personally think, and I don't even actually know how it could be the other way. How could it be that we have this general merit and we have a leader and he just takes us out, as opposed to a personal transformation? Can you imagine what that would look like? That you're completely unworthy, you haven't done anything, and all of a sudden a magic wand takes you to Jerusalem, and you're given your plot of land. It would seem like a dream. It's not. It doesn't seem real. I really think we're destined to have a situation where the Rebbe empowered us to be our own, go on our own, to achieve our own personal transformation, and not to depend on the Rebbe. I really think that was the ultimate, the final Rebbe, that to be a parent on the earth. I think that was the final message. Here, the Rebbe was like praying that it wouldn't have to be that way. Let it just be that it's enough. That V'Yakel represents this unity, that's enough to just, as a whole, care about each other, and that should accomplish this. Now we have to care about not only the other person, but the thing that's most foreign to us, ourselves. We have to look in ourselves and find out why is it that we do things that we wouldn't want our children to do. How could you do anything that's not something you would want your children to follow? Anyways, so we spoke about the maxis of the shekel. Everyone's just a half. You have to team up with another person. That's, again, this unity. Thank you. Welcome. That worked. Okay, here comes Menachem. I don't have too much time, Menachem, today. I clicked yes. So if you could come on and bless us all, that would be good. Welcome, Lynn. Welcome, Artie. I have a piece of Torah on Megillas Esther. I think it's worthy to prepare properly for Purim. So I really want to learn this. It's got a very cool Kabbalah line that it begins with in the Pri-Eitz Chaim. Good morning. So I'm just reviewing yesterday's thing a bit, because I think this is the final message. If this message doesn't strike home, I'm not saying I figured it out entirely yet. I don't quite understand it. I never understood this. I don't understand why it's a different format, and I don't understand. I know it was edited by the Rebbe, and but the message is so peculiar. He speaks about how the acceleration of Zionism in recent times, and then Hashem's going to light each person up. If we take this approach of giving everything to God and use our entire soul, all 10 powers of our soul, then we team up with the 10 spheres, and God and I and you are all connected. And that elicits the time of redemption, which should come immediately when Hashem makes then Hashem does his righteousness, Shemekabetz kol bnei Yisrael, because he gathers every single Jew, Kal Godel Yeshuvahena, and he ends with the words from the first words of the parsha. Yakel is Kal Godel. It said about Mashiach that he's going to gather a great congregation. So this is all about the congregation, the group. It didn't seem to quite make it. We had an opportunity there, but it didn't seem to fly, because I think the destiny, and the Rebbe said this like a year prior, that it has to start with the individual. Every single person has to transform themselves. So I really don't understand. My question's the opposite way. How could it be that a Rebbe just says, here we go, I'm the Pied Piper, follow me? It's more about follow what I've become, the Rebbe tells us. You can do it too. It's not special to Mashiach, some anointed king that gets all the notoriety. It's not about that. Bishvili nivra ha'olam. Every single person is meant to ascend their own throne in their own world and be the infinity within the world. So that is going to be this incredible vision of Mordechai coming out from the king, and what that means. In the terms of the Pri Etz Chaim, a work of Kabbalah, I think it was the Arizal. So this is the mimer of the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe in Terah on Megillas Esther. He says, he quotes the words, Ki Avram lo yadanu, ata Hashem avinu. The merit of our forefathers did not quite make it so that we would be recalled. It's associated with Yitzchak, the Az Yemalas Chayk Pinu, this promise of a time of laughter. Does anyone remember laughter? That Yitzchak is singled out as the source for redemption. He's about discipline and worthiness, and therefore it's the promise of laughter. That's why his name Yitzchak is in the future tense. So Avram we didn't know, and Yisrael we didn't recognize him. We didn't have their merit stand for us in the time of the redemption. And then immediately the Alter Rebbe, the author here, jumps to a Pri Etz Chaim, the Medrash Purim, quoting the Medrash from Purim. Ha'aras Yisaid Abba benukva shelo yal yedei zerampin. This is a description of a transparency where you connect the lowest with Yisaid Abba, the connecting aspect of Abba, which is Chochmah, wisdom. The Yisaid, the foundation of Father, is into Nukva, which here I think means Malchus. Shelo yaldei zerampin, because you're bypassing zerampin. You've achieved a level where you send out a messenger. I think that's Mordechai Yatsa Milifnei Moshe, Hamelech, that we're going to say, that Mordechai went out from before the king, as we'll say right now. Balayla hahu hazeh nadida. On this day, the king doesn't sleep. The Yatsa harase lamata bebiyah. And rather, he casts his illumination below into the world of Biyah, the created world. So the Creator, when there is a time of inspiration, I'm just trying to get my car pulling up. He couldn't sleep that night. The king couldn't sleep, as we learned in Megillas Esther. That the main miracle began that time, when the king couldn't sleep, and he recounts all the merit of who's helped him out. Mordechai had not been rewarded, so he wants to do something good for Mordechai. Yisaid Abba, the father. Yisaid is all about communication. Ben Nukva, and it has to be communicated for something. So the object here is Nukva, the lowest level, Malchus. Shelo yal yedei zerampin, not through the regular channels, where there's this middle, the six emotional attributes are the six masculine, the mashpia of the world of Zun, the lower level of consciousness, as opposed to Abba ve'ima, which is chokhmah and bina, wisdom and understanding. So you have emotional attributes that stem from there. It's a lower dimension, and that connects with Malchus, which is a recognition of what's precious. So you have that relationship that happens. And it's the shine comes into the lower realm. That Mordechai passes before everyone, and he comes out from the king. So it seems to be that you have this ability, and Purim, I suppose, is what they're talking about here. That this is a time where you bypass all the regular channels, and you have a connection that's instantly very deep. And it's represented by the idea of Mordechai, that God sends out his herald, his silver surfer, which is the form of a very benevolent person called Mordechai, who follows in the tradition of Abraham, as we say. And now I'm going to skip over to the end, where it talks about how Purim is a reflection of Yom Kippur. And it talks about that's the meaning of this Kabbalistic, this sort of very mystical and difficult to comprehend idea of going out from the king and going into the lower realm, and how that applies to us. But he uses to describe it something that we were talking about last week, which was the faces of the chariot. We said that God made the people rather, they'll made a golden calf. The Erev Rav made a golden calf, and they worshipped the ox face of it. They missed out in a higher dimension of it, which was the cherub face, the face that appeared actually on the Aron, the two cherubs. They messed up a bit and didn't get it right, and had they got it right, it wouldn't have been an Avera. We learned from I think it was the Malbim. Shech Mechayas Tmeis Merkava Kedusha B'nei Arya. But that begs the question: that was a kosher animal? The golden calf was a kosher animal. On the right side, the more preeminent side of this configuration, this Merkava, this chariot, is a lion. Now, you got to understand that Lubavitcher children mostly don't see pictures of lions and bears and stuff like that, because they're not kosher, and therefore they evoke on their, when you contemplate them or when you consider them, they evoke those attributes, and therefore they bring qualities to your children that are unfavorable. So Lubavitchers take that to the nth degree, and they don't know what a lion looks like until they're like 18. Why would we put a lion on the Merkava, on the chariot of God, if it's such a negative symbol? It's a beast that eats other animals. What's it doing there? I have to go a bit fast because I got a lot of things going on today. But please God, everything should go good with me and you. Purim v'Yom Kippur b'chad darga ha'aretz yisaid abba b'nukva. Purim and Yom Kippur both are descriptive of that creates Chaim that we just learned, that piece of Kabbalah that spoke about the illumination from Yesod Abba in Nukva. It's missing out Zerampin. It goes all the way into El Metzbiah, the lower realm. God shines into the world of creation. All the festivals are going to be nullified except for Purim. Did you know that? They're not going to be considered holidays, because every day is going to be so spectacular in the future redemption that you're not going to notice them as anything in particular. But Purim will stand out still. And halacha, knowing how to behave. Hihina yedua memashal ha'ari. So this is expressed by the idea of a lion, shehu machayas tmeis, umerkava kedusha, pnei arya el yamin. So you have a metaphor of a lion, which is an unkosher animal, but it appears on the holy chariot as the face of a lion on the right side of this angelic beast. Because when you're trying to depict a dimension that completely transcends, you have to use the most dramatic creature that you could possibly encounter in the world, or you won't understand what we're talking about. So you have to use something at the lowest level. to express something that's most high. Vehu behemoth meya b'makom klippas. And this is an unkosher animal in the place of obstructing forces, things that are negative. Masha'enkin b'teira haya kli misbatel b'nei. So if you're going to put a kosher animal to represent that, you couldn't have a sheep represent that. We blow the ram's horn as a sign of compassion and mercy, like a crying child. That can contain that, but that's the tshuva. Here we're expressing something that's beyond what you could reach, and therefore you need a symbol in the world that will relate to that as something that's just a little bit. I'm not going to sleep in the cage with the lion. So if you have a sheep instead of the lion, it will completely would not be able to withstand it. And when we're talking about the illumination from Chokhmah, the source of all revelation and everything divine, experienced as divine in the world, comes from wisdom, it has to be fully expressed. What its total capacity, its infinite capacity is, you have to reach the lowest level, or it's not. It's something out of its reach, and it's not truly wisdom. So the world talks about every single thing and how you're supposed to interact with all those things. By talking about it, it elicits the power that's associated with that world, if it's temptation or if it's some boundary that doesn't make sense, both of which are here determined as you're being a conduit for the revelation of God's supernal will, from wisdom, from Chochmei law, supernal wisdom, all the way down to the lowest level, the most superficial level. So Mordechai is sent out from before the king. Mordechai Chochmei law, he represents wisdom. I said before benevolence, but here it's actually wisdom. Malchus, Malchus, Gashmim. So he wears special royal garments, which are physical things. So you take a very sagacious, is that a word? A sagely person, and he wears fine garments, and he's paraded in front of the city of Shushan, the Persian capital city. V'yavar Mordechai k'mavur v'yitzchayim shehu yetze, and that's the interpretation of Kabbalah you got to insert there to understand what's going on. So wisdom comes out from the palace and goes out to the lowest possible level to wear royal garments and to assume the role of representing the king. And I didn't quite finish this, but I'm just wondering if I have to get going. He speaks about the idea of a prophet being a messenger. So here Mordechai is like this prophet, this messenger to communicate the Said Abba, the means for communication of Abba, which is wisdom, entering into the world of Malchus, which is the lowest realm. The things that your child sees and says, wow, that is a parade. There's a lion at the thing, I want to be there. For sure, I don't want to miss that. So the power of that is to totally knock out any opposition. Okay, I really want to do this properly with you, and I think I want to do it tomorrow. It'll give me something to look forward to. Have a great day.